Good afternoon on what is a mild, bright and blowy day. It is Wednesday the 17th of April and I'm in the reading up with a nice hot cup of tea. And a box to continue unboxing. And what I've got in here is this, which is Magic Eater. It's a Lamentations of the Flame Princess book. So it's written for use with Lamentations of the Flame Princess weird fantasy role-playing, but will work with other retro clones as per usual. So open up your mouth and feed it. A weird cult has stolen your player's favourite magic item and intends to feed it to their so-called god. Will your players recover it in time? Will they be waylaid by bandits? Or will they fall foul of the many minions of the Magic Eater? Magic Eater is an adventure for Lamentations of the Flame Princess, weird fantasy role-playing and other traditional role-playing games. The adventure favours exploration and stealth, which means specialists will shine. If things go wrong, there is a 5-hit dice boss monster with about 40 henchmen and a literal smorgasbord of special abilities. So bear that in mind, or prepare to provide your players with a lot of cannon fodder, the crossed out stroke hirelings. Magic Eater is written by Kelvin Green, who wrote Forgive Us, Fishfuckers, More Than Meets the Eye, Midwinter, Green Messiah, Terror in the Streets, Strict Time Records Must Be Kept, The Curious Conundrum of the Complicated Condottiere, Derry, and Beware, I'm Hungry. There we go. So inside we have table of contents and credits there. And first off, it's going to tell you what the adventure is about and how you're going to get your player characters involved. And note it's all going to be a bit implausible, but you know, what isn't these days when it comes to designing an adventure? You know, they're all improbable because they're all set in fantasy worlds. You know, it's all sense of fantastic. And then we deal with sort of like the nature of the Magic Eater himself, because people are strange. Before we move on to the theft and some preamble. Essentially, this is the bit that sets the whole thing up with the hirelings, with essentially the cultists stealing your player character's favourite magic item, running away with it to feed to their mad god. So they've got that encounter, and then essentially the player character is going to start chasing after them. And essentially, you know, your specialist character is going to be an advantage here, dealing with you know, the type of people who know where the thieves will be and can follow a few clues, grease a few palms, that sort of thing, call in a few favours, and then sort of like here we deal with the actual enemy of the gang who committed the theft, essentially gang cult, whatever, and the members of the gang. And then yeah, sort of like the hard numbers, it's just how many there are involved, and just basically what's going to happen. And it just essentially says it does mean changing the bulb, meaning it's not the 1970s before Grandpa Grognard. The gang members are not going to wait in their room for the player characters to come and kill them. Bandits move around the fort as they go about their business, or respond to alarms and disturbances. So the table below lists where the thieves are most likely to be found. So you've got essentially a sense of movement and reaction upon the part of the NPCs as the player characters deal with them. And they've got the probable locations of the cultists, as unpleasant as they are. And a bit of a joke here: Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone not present, present Fortress of Thieves. You know, that's a nod to you know, the fighting fantasy solo adventure book. And here we've actually got the plan of the fortress before, you know, got, which includes running into an arthritic goat, and gives you the option of swimming underwater, you know, trying to get into the fortress. And once the player characters are in, they can start investigating and attempting to find the lost item. I'm just trying to turn the page here. Nope, okay. We've got descriptions of the West Tower, nicely clearly mapped out as well. and then the east, but not the east tower. Sorry, not the east, but not the least tower, I should say. The big table here is sort of like, sort of like some documentation the player characters can find, a diary, some notes, and of course, there's the cellars. So you've got a little bit of a dungeon as well. And below that, you've got the cult temple. The cellar layout, yeah, it's not very interesting, but I actually do think the cult temple is, yeah, that's a whole lot more interesting to explore and much more, not much more interesting to look at actually. You've got various notes about the cultists in that they sing, sing when you're winning, and then they actually drink shitty cultist tea. That's why I'm not a cultist. They drink awful tea. Hold on. Nice hot cup of tea. And there's the Magic Eater himself. Big beast of a thing. Essentially, what happens when he does eat things? And that's actually a D20 table, so quite a long list of options. For example, anyone hit by Gregor must save versus magic will be overcome with friendliness and goodwill towards the maniac. If he hits them again, the effect wears off, which teaches all an important lesson about betraying your friends, probably. Or he goes cross-eyed and lets out a loud and pleasantly visible fart, which then sort of consumes him and turns him into a glad of eggy gas. He's now immune to non-magical physical attacks and floats around at the speed of 10 feet per round. So finally, you get down to the important question: did he eat our doohickey? And then we have Kolonopsky now. So there's that option. That whole thing of okay, you've got plenty of adventures which take place in the body of gods and monsters and so on. It could actually be extended into the body of the Magic Eater. And then the aftermath. What happens? When the player characters are sort of like run the rampage, got their items back or not, and so on. But in the meantime, you have a vault of treasures to find, and then we've got another little encounter, which looks decidedly unpleasant. Another rough night at a dog and a bastard. Essentially, it's sort of like this is a nasty little encounter where the player characters are trapped in overnight, and caught in the machinations of the cult of Burfon, he who gushes from beyond. So it's all kind of set up, complications and secrets. So a little kind of one night affair, I think, and then you've got this table of relationships within the cult, and at the end of that night, and that's just an extra thing that's thrown in with Magic Eater. So the first thing I'll say is, well, this is a scenario by Kelvin Green in which a village is not at peril by a large stompy thing, which makes for a nice change from him. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you did, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box containing a book or game, or in this case a scenario for Lamentations of the Flame Princess, weird fantasy role-playing, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I will be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.